car door today.
What would you do?
I slammed my head against the car door. I literally opened the car door. I was with Christina this morning. I'm going to go grab stuff from my car, and I just boom. I'm pretty sure I took off skin on the left side of my nose. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Did Christina laugh?
She was like, and I was like, did that just happen? And then the pain started coming. I was like, it just.
Yeah. All right.
Today.
Let's record. Ready? Let's see how far we can get. Here we go.
I'm waiting for the camera to just turn off.
Oh my god. Okay, let's do it.
It's real hot.
All right. This is so loud. It's so loud. What happened? I think, Madison, you were having a party with your friends here in the studio or something. The music is so loud. We haven't done this in a while, man. So
I know.
I was thinking, why do I always do the intro? This is your show. Shouldn't you be the one doing your intro right here?
Are you supposed to introduce yourself? I feel like that's a little weird.
I do that on my show.
Well, I'm host in training, okay?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Enough banter here. Welcome back to another edition of Laugh, Lend, and Eat with the one and the only Madison Keenan, otherwise known to us as Madison or Madness.
I just noticed.
Hey, listen, so I want to let our listeners and viewers know that Madison has been having some really major technical difficulties. So we are going to try to get through this episode. We are promising that we will continue on.
Promising nothing, just hoping for the best.
Yes, what she just said.
No, don't even promise them.
So Madison, we've had a little project we've been working on because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, I don't know. Maybe Madison, I don't know how much you do know, but we'll figure it out right now.
Yeah, test me.
So we are coming up to the end of your season 2.
I know. No, I did know that. I felt it. It was a feeling. You didn't specifically tell me.
Yeah. So we're coming up to the end of the season 2, and we're obviously always trying to make improvements. So we said, okay, let's work on some songs or maybe a new style for Madison that maybe fits her personality more. I don't know. I mean,
the rock and roll, every headbanger.
Yeah, because clearly you never headbang because that's not the way you headbang.
No.
You're moving your entire body. You're doing a body bang.
It's fine. You can't do this, so I win.
But I can headbang. See,
you can headbang. I can
your shoulders don't move. It's just boom. That's your. So here's a couple of options that we were throwing out there. I thought this was more of your personality.
Are we having a business meeting on live air right now? We're gonna make the options live.
Yeah, why not?
Everyone.
Yeah, ready? Let's check this out.
All right.
Let's see if this plays. Maybe it's not gonna. Here's the technical difficulty number 1. I thought this was gonna play. It's really not gonna play. Oh, I know why it's not playing.
Not pressing play.
This is more of a user error than it is a technical error. There we go. All right, we're gonna get it down to a nice volume so it doesn't blow up my eardrums this time. Okay. So this is option 1. This is the one I really like for you.
That Jersey Shore just pump going.
Right?
Wow.
It's kind of dark, I hate my clients, leave me alone. The interest rate suck. Right. Right? It's got that 9-inch nails feel to it. It's got the more 90s vibe. And here's another interesting one right here. This has more of a retro beat to it.
This is mysterious.
Yeah.
It's not my style though, this one. It sounds like Madness is coming on. It sounds a little like Madness.
What do you think? Huh?
Thanks for fun.
Like this one?
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Ready?
This is also madness. Oh shit. Except I guess I can't headbang, so I'm not gonna.
All right, so we have one or two.
Number 3 or 4.
I can't say both of them.
Number 3.
We like this one.
Yeah.
Look at you guys.
Oh, like a little mystery. I can see it now.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Season 3's theme song for Madness will be something along this line. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Now we got to dress you up like a secret agent or something and get you to do a video.
I know, like doing like rolling on the ground and stuff, breaking into banks.
Yeah.
Breaking into people's houses.
Breaking into people. You should be saving people's houses. So Madness. Let's shift here because obviously we could do songs all day long, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's a difficult market, and this was a little silver lining. By the way, did you know what the 10-year bond was doing this morning? So I had written an email, by the way, to my sales guys about, let's say, about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had warned them that if the 10-year bond closes over 4.38, that look for a 5% yield shortly thereafter. So this morning, we were at 4.62. 38 basis from 5%.
Yeah.
Now, I know I'm no Barry Habib, but I would say that's a pretty good.
That was pretty spot on.
Yeah. So we're getting up there. We are getting up there. There's no doubt about it. There's no relief in sight, by the way. I don't know if you picked up on those comments last week.
I've had a couple people, you think we're getting up into the 8s? I'm like, it's a matter of time.
I mean, we're thinking 8.5 to 9 by the end of the year if this pace continues. Especially if they raise the rate in November like they're saying. So
just let everything crash and burn, why don't we?
I mean, I've been here before.
I'm kind of just like, so that's weird because I feel like you posted something on Facebook the other day and it was like that 1-year memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was reading through the description of that podcast that we put out, and at that time, literally this time last year, there was another 75 basis points rate hike. So I feel like nothing has really changed from last year to this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you even look at, like from what I closed out this time last year even and where the rates were at, maybe they were in the 6s because that client was paying points or something like that. But I feel like this is the first year where like the surprise of the interest rates is like, there's no surprises anymore. Maybe the cost behind the rate.
How is that impacting your borrowers though?
So my issue is really inventory right now, if we're going to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, especially, so I just am in the process of getting licensed in 2 other states. I won't say which states yet until
why not?
With it.
Why?
It'll be a surprise when I'm all through.
I think one has to be Texas.
Oh God. I just was telling Fobby, I went to Texas, everyone. I do not know how you all live out there. I felt like someone was putting me through 4 days. Well, first of all, it was a bad threat.
Let me just get this straight. You've pissed off people in Central Jersey, and now you're going to piss off the entire state of Texas. You really just want to go big time this time, right?
The heat slapped me in the face. And I'm like a beach girl. I like the warm weather. I was not prepared for it.
Austin, there's no water around Austin, Texas, though. You're not. You can't compare a beach climate to Austin, Texas.
We went to Lake Travis one day. That was like my only day of relief when I was in the body of.
Have you been to Orlando, Florida?
Yes, but I'm not that Disney girl. Like I don't go to Florida to go walk around the
some
theme
people go to Orlando for business, by the way. Just FYI, some of us go there, and we don't always go to Disney.
Okay.
And it can be blazing hot because it's called Central Florida for a reason.
Yeah, because it's in the middle.
It's in the middle. So people go to Orlando, Florida, and they're like, "How come it's so hot here?" They think Florida is like a beach state.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, you're in the middle of it right now. So go to the left or the right, and you'll get there in about an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, my entire forehead's peeling right now. I don't know if you could see, but I feel like I literally detoxed for 4 days and came back to New Jersey.
Not bad. It's good.
No, I mean, detox and sweat.
And by the way, Austin has some really amazing food. I don't know if
Oh,
you got to experience the food in Austin. It's like,
the
my
food was
God.
to die for. I feel like we
Right?
never talk about food enough here, but like I would go back for the food.
Yes.
I don't know if I can go back to just walk around. It
Well,
was,
you should go back in like November, December.
yeah.
November through February is probably okay for you.
Listen, I was there for a bachelorette trip. There were 15 girls in one house. I felt like I was on an episode of a reality TV show.
Yeah, it's not cool.
So that in itself was a lot to handle. And then you add the heat and the drinking and the things that come with the bachelorette party. And it was
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here today.
You're doing a lot of weddings and bachelorette parties. I noticed that on Facebook.
My friends had the audacity to all get married in the year that the mortgage industry is deciding to do a little whoop-de-de-doop. And I'm like, oh, you guys really have a lot of faith in me. I had 10 weddings this year and 2 bachelorette parties.
Wow, 10 weddings.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
And everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, some of it was for business. So it's like I had 2 real estate agents. I had 1 title agent. And then some of it was family, like my sister got married. And then I'm in another wedding party for the one that I just went to, the bachelorette. And that's like a childhood friend. And then, I just feel like I've been some places. So I have friends from all over, whose wedding I'm going to next year, actually. And you introduced us. I'm going to be at Lakin's wedding in Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. My first podcast ever. And I made a friend.
Nice. That's awesome. So look, let's go back to the mortgage business.
Yeah, circle back. So from my client's perspective with the interest rates, yes. So I have this analogy, and I'll share it with you, and you'll let me know if this makes sense. But I was talking to a real estate agent actually this morning, and I was like comparing, because we were doing some business planning. So natural thing to do when you business plan is to look back and see, how did you do in the beginning of the year? How did you do this time last year compared to this time? And I was like, even though things are similar, it's kind of like comparing green apples to pears. Like they look similar, they kind of taste like, you could tell that they're a fruit, but they're completely different. So I'm like, the interest rates are the same. The mentality is down from the real estate perspective to the client perspective, where things aren't what they were. Oh my God, I missed out the opportunity when I should have bought a house 2 years ago. So conversations haven't really changed. And like, yes, the interest rate market has been going like
Did I miss the analogy?
Yeah. Green
apples to pears. That's it?
Yeah. Like comparing this year to last year. It's like, it's different, but it's the same. Is that a horrible analogy? I thought it was so clever.
What? I've been waiting for the entire analogy. I was like, when's she going to get to it? Here she is talking long again.
This year is green apples. Last year is green pears.
We got to work on your analogies. I get it now. I get it. They
look similar. Some of them might even taste somewhat similar.
Don't look similar at all.
Yes, they're green.
Yeah, but the pears are like this, kind of like a
right. It's slightly different though, but it's got the skin, the core, like it kind of looks.
We got to work on that. Like maybe a tangerine to a mandarin.
Take this part
tangerine to a mandarin.
All right, I didn't want to use the cliche apples to oranges. Like it's not that okay. So if you're comparing apples to oranges, that's like
tangerine to mandarin. Tangerine to mandarin.
All right, so tangerine to mandarin is the same thing as green apples to pears.
Not really, but okay.
But you get what I'm saying. Where
I get what you're saying. You're saying that look, at the end of the day, right now, it's extremely horrible. But it was horrible last year and you survived.
Last year we were going through like, oh my God, another rate hike.
Right. You were blaming
at least right now, I feel like
you were accusing me of recording a podcast every day after the rate hike.
You did though. Not accusatory. It was just stating facts.
It was an accident.
Yeah, so I just feel like right now, the thing that's the shittiest, other than inventory and other than, higher interest rates than past time, it's everyone's mentality. Like all of a sudden, no one knows how to do business because things got slightly more challenging.
Do you think that as an industry, we got spoiled with the 2.5% to 3% rates?
Yeah.
Right? Because look, I mean, guys like myself, and I hate to say this, right? I mean, I was selling rates at 9.75, 10%, 30-year fixed.
Right.
Right. So like a 7-year arm on my own personal loan, my first house that I bought in 95, I gave myself 7.25. So that was a 7-year arm.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like doing myself a solid.
Right. And I just think that everyone had this mentality because they didn't know what to take or what to do with the sense that like the interest rates quite literally doubled. But
Yeah.
it's like if all that you've been focusing on for this whole year is still the interest rates, like
Okay. Well, let's take a
that's
pivot
not going to
real quick.
change, and we don't know when and if it will ever change for the better. This might be the best time to buy in the next 10 years. We don't know. We're just going off of
Last year, you were telling people on that podcast, don't buy. Remember the memory I posted?
oh
And I was like, Madison, are you telling people
you
don't
were
buy?
like,
Like,
and I was
I'm
like,
not saying that. I'm not saying
but
right. I mean,
but certain people, and I'm still having those conversations today, and I feel like I'd be a fool if I looked at someone's specific financial circumstances and was like, go do it.
yeah.
Like, here you go. I mean,
What's a reason people should not buy a house?
the reason people should not buy a house is if they don't so like right now currently or in general.
All right, Miss Splitting Hairs. Right now,
Okay.
like at this exact moment at 2:29 p.m. on 9/28/2023, why shouldn't someone buy a house?
I'll give you a great one. If you haven't been paying student loans for the last
Uh-huh.
few years, go back to doing that first, readjust your lifestyle, and
Oh,
now that you're used
oh,
to and accustomed
yeah,
to this new way of life, because
yeah,
October is going to be a whole new wave of problems.
right.
Screw
Wow,
the
what a
interest
great point.
rates.
What a great point. Oh my Lord.
And
That's
I've been
right.
saying it, like all of my clients who, even if they went on forbearance or stopped making a few payments, but still kept a couple,
Mhm,
they've wedged in some like it's still something that's reoccurring, you know what I mean? And it's been reoccurring, so they're used to it. But
mhm,
someone that just completely deferred all of their student loans and is about to get smacked with anywhere from a couple hundred to upwards of 1,000 something dollars a month
mhm,
and is already maybe struggling to afford rent. Because I think the other thing that a lot of people assume too is that, oh, I'm going to get a mortgage and it'll be cheaper than whatever I'm
mhm.
currently renting, right?
No, not anymore.
So I think that there's just a whole conversation that's going to be had in the next few weeks. This will be my little prediction, and we can come back and talk about it maybe at the end of the season. But I don't know. I think student loans is about to just be like the nail in the coffin.
Ooh. You know what? I mean, listen, I have not thought about that. I mean, it's been in the, you know, atmosphere, right? But yeah, on 9/28 at 2:31 p.m., that's a realistic thing because come Sunday morning, that payment starts due. It's due.
Yeah.
And
And we've all been calculating and accustomed. Okay, so we can't get them to qualify for this one. Let's go to this one that you can now calculate half a percentage instead of 1%.
yeah.
Well, when you have a payment, you go off of the payment. There's no longer the option to fudge around with the student loan payment.
I
It's
mean, that's gonna knock out a lot of people who just will not qualify anymore.
right, because
Now,
a lot of my
there
clients,
was an article I read that there's this growing trend of late 20s, early 30s still living at home with their
yeah,
parents. Now, I'm victim to that also because I
yeah,
have a 26-year-old in my basement.
yeah.
and, he, and he just won't leave. Now, he's going to listen to this podcast because he does all our editing for us. He's going to hear me say this.
I wasn't saying anything. It was all Fobby. It was all your dad.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't mind him there, right? Because I think it's
Right.
smart. Like, I think it's smart for that age group to minimize their expenses to save money.
Here's
Right?
another thing, though, and I'll say this because I am in that age group. How many people are actually saving and budgeting correctly living at home, or is that extra money that they're using
Yeah.
to travel, to go out to the bars. That's just money in their mind that they have because they're not paying it every month to something.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I
then
got another buddy of
kids
mine.
that are, yeah, like living downstairs and they're, okay, now got this. The ones that are supposed to be saving money coming, living home, now their student loans kick in. Now mom and dad get sick of them after another year, but all this time they haven't been paying student loan payments. So now all of a sudden they're going from living rent free and not having student loan payments to maybe within a year from now having a potential rent payment or mortgage payment plus student loan payments.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this student loan repayment is huge. I mean, it's really like something that's critical. I don't think people are really understanding. Like, the payments can be as high as $800 to $1,000, if not more.
Yeah.
I mean, that easily disqualifies somebody. But now, does that also mean that you're going to see more parents as non-occupying co-borrowers? Like, I would do that for my kids.
Yeah. And I think that there will always be, I'm like, I have a client, a first-time homebuyer that just closed this summer. And I'll give you a perfect example of why this is like when I started to realize like, oh my God, this is going to be an issue. So you know how normally if someone has some sort of debt, but there's someone else making the payment, so you can show 12 months of that other person making the payment.
Mm-hmm.
So my client was on student loan deferment for a couple of her student loans. And she was like, oh, well, my parents make the payments. So we were like, okay, send us, 12 months of bank statements. Well, mom and dad haven't been making that payment since 2019. And a lot of the loan program guidelines right now call for the most recent 12. So even though we had 12-month history that before going into forbearance or deferment, they were making those payments for more than 12 months, because it's not the most recent 12 months, we couldn't exclude it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that's where I feel like I always had a funky feeling, because I came into, remember when like COVID started, I was still a loan partner. So I was really in there for the loan officers evaluating debt for specific clients. And I just couldn't for the life of me. Like, I always knew that there was going to be like a catch, right? Like, they're just not going to not let you pay your student loans for this amount of time. And it's not going to have some sort of negative impact to you one way or another.
Is there a tip that you would give people listening right now that do have student loan repayment coming on? I mean, what's the best way to still qualify for a house then?
So there are a couple of programs that are offered through your state. So one of them that I know is pretty common or popular right now is the income-driven student loan repayments. So essentially you're submitting your W-2s every year, and they'll base your payment based on how much you're making per year. So it's not a fixed amount that'll be for the life of the loan, but essentially every year they'll evaluate what you're paying back based on what you make.
So let me ask you another question. Let's stay on the student loan thing. Let's say somebody, I don't know, let's say somebody owes, what's a good number? 55,000 for student loan? Is that a fair number?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
60,000? I don't
And it
know.
depends on what age bracket too, because it's like,
Yeah, but let's say they bought a house in 2020.
Okay.
Let's say they have equity in the house.
Right.
Is it smart for them to refinance, do a cash out refinance, and include the student loan in their into the refinance?
If that payment is saving them significant on like the interest that they're savings and just like the overall debt that they're paying every month,
Mhm.
yes. Other
Because
times, you run numbers and it doesn't make sense, where you're better off paying this lower amount than you refinancing and paying that off in full, because now your mortgage payment is like, you're not saving in that scenario, right?
sometimes I think people are hung up on this. Well, I have a 3.5% rate, and I'm like, yeah, but you got 23% on your credit card and you got 12% on your student loan. So I get it that you can still go to the barbecue and say I got 3.5% on my
Right. I
10
think
years.
everyone just doesn't want to accept, like, have it. It's so weird, this like how people feel and like internalize and like their perception on like having a higher interest rate on their mortgage. Like, it's become a flex
Yeah,
of like, I got this, I got that. Like, I feel like people I don't know, and before COVID times, I feel like no one ever talked about like, that's like almost like a private personal thing. But
yeah.
now if you are one of the people, it's like a flex.
Hmm.
But I just saw something today where it was like people that bought houses in the low interest rate market don't realize it's a scam. because if you're actually using, and again, scam, I think is maybe
it's a harsh word.
dramatic. So again, this is not my words. This is what I saw online.
It's like, okay, you got scammed.
Low interest rates are a scam.
It's a Ponzi scheme. You don't really own the house. You got 17
I think it keeps people stuck. I've been seeing a lot of articles talking about this joke. There's become this ongoing joke about how people thought that they were getting a starter home and it's now becoming their forever home.
Yeah, no kidding.
So in that regards, I'm like, yeah, you kind of did screw yourself in a sense, because
that I would agree with. That I would absolutely.
You bought the house, you live in the house, but if there was, God forbid, you didn't buy it exactly how you like it, and now you want to take advantage of the equity in your home to do work on your house, pay off some credit cards or student loan debts, consolidate debt, just have equity that you can use for, I've done, how many reasons have I had people come to do a refinance? Kids are going to school, this, that, or the other. So in a sense, I don't think that people that bought in 2020 are in any better or different place than someone that is, 7.5 interest rate right now.
Sure.
At least with the 7.5 interest rate, they'll be more willing and eager to see the benefit of refinancing, even if it's okay. Oh, let's just say that the interest rates go to 9s, and you have a client that purchased at a 7.5, but they get into some. I have this one client right now that I could kill her because I get notifications every day of all these like different cards and things she's opening. So I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to do that refinance and see how many new debts we've acquired. But in that regard, someone that's going and opening a bunch of new credit as soon as they close on a home, they might be the ones that benefit from taking a 9% interest rate to pay off all that other credit card fluff that they did to do the house.
No, listen, I mean, I have a borrower that's been with me since 95, believe it or not. I've refied and done all sorts of transactions for this gentleman, and his payment was $2,200, but his other debt that he was, you know what I mean?
$2,400. Yeah.
It was about almost $1,700 between credit card and a student loan for his daughter.
Yeah.
So we consolidate everything. So the $2,200 goes up to $2,900 or something.
Right. But you're still saving.
Yeah, the amount of cash flow he's saving and he was like, but he was so stuck on like, I have 3.25 though, Fab. You gave me a great rate in 2020. And I'm like, I know, but it doesn't make sense to like hold on to that. Like you're waving this banner and
it's not helping you.
Yeah, like you're not
helping you.
You're not having this, like he's 1 year from retiring. It's like you just can't go into retirement like this.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think people don't really understand, like, okay, interest rates are cool on your mortgages. Got it. I love them, right?
Right.
At the same point, if you've got 20 some odd percent on a credit card and 12% on a student loan, it's not smart at all. It's not smart at all.
And it will hinder you in the future when and if you do decide to refinance at whatever interest rate, right?
Right.
Because it comes down to utilization, number of cards, what's the interest that you're paying on those cards. So I think that us as loan officers, and that's why I get so like disgusted, honestly, is like if I have to hear about the interest rates one more time, the interest rates have really like, I feel like last year was like this. Last year was the pair, and this year it's like this. Like you see little dips up and down, but I feel like this year was a healthier market in terms of interest rates than last year.
I think people are also more accustomed to it.
Yeah.
They've digested it. And by the way, one thing, and I'm coming up to the end here, but one more, I don't know if you saw the Housing Wire report that came out 2 days ago, but they said this particular last 30 days, they've seen more inventory come on the market than exactly the same time last year. So,
which is also interesting because I feel like it's like people would so rather just look outward when it comes to why their business isn't doing well right now, rather than so it's the interest rates, it's the inventory. And like I'll fall short to I'll be the first one to admit, like I do, it's the inventory is something that I do feel is a struggle, but there's still, it's not historically low.
No, but I think you're doing the right thing. And for loan officers who are listening, I mean, I know we're coming into business planning season, but Madison, I mean, I know you've got New Jersey and Florida already, right? You're going to have 2 more licenses, so you're going to have 4 different states. This is the business plan in any market, is to expand your market share. Like,
right.
Not like I had one guy just have 1 license and he's like, business sucks. I said, okay, What's it like in your neighboring state? I don't know. Well, let's get a license and find
Let's
out.
explore. You have the time maybe right now to fly down there and do exactly what you do in your state, your where you're comfortable. I just think that there's a lot of like comfort right now because
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear in the unknown. So everyone's just not trying to make these hasty decisions or completely revamp their business. And I feel like you and I, because of just like we've both changed companies in the last year, like we're maybe less afraid. Like I feel like that for me was the big
Yeah, you
change.
got that out of the way.
You know, any other thing that I do to alter my business to adapt to what's happening in the market is like nothing.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality and the grit that we got to get. But I feel like even this time last year, when I look at my growth, I don't cry over loans anymore.
Wow, that's positive. Very positive. Check this out. Ready? Here it is. We are coming up to the end of another hour with Madison.
It was a little too happy and cheerful for me, I feel like.
I like it though. I think this is you. I think at least this time we got your feedback.
Yeah.
Here, John and I just chose some songs for you and said, "Here, this sounds like Madison."
This is your brand. Rock with it.
So now we got your input. We will work around this. We will design something that has your feeling to it.
I love it.
And then we'll tell you to like it.
I also feel like we need glasses on the Bitmoji.
Oh yeah, maybe a little
My little glass, because I feel like I wear glasses too. It's part of my brand.
Is that your brand now?
I'm trying to. I got made fun of for all of elementary school and middle school and high school for hating contacts and wearing glasses, and now all of a sudden glasses are cool.
Hold on, you wore contacts in elementary school?
No, I got made fun of for not wearing them.
Oh,
like I was glasses girl, and then all of a sudden glasses are cool. Everyone's got the blue light, lenses and things. Everyone wants to wear glasses.
Yeah, my son walks around the house with that crap on that night. Cracks me up. All right, guys, listen. This has been a technical free episode. I love that. We got it done without any technical issues, except right now. The music just stopped because I didn't put on auto loop. There it comes. I love it. All right, so Maddie, it's time to check out of here. You know what that means, right? You know what that means.
Peace out, home dog.
Peace out, home bug.
No technical